Catherine Stihler, Labour MEP for Scotland. We are now some 3 days before the announcement of the next Labour leader. Do you think it will be Andy Burnham, whom you support?
Well, I certainly hope so. I'm backing Andy. I've known Andy for many years and I think he is the best person for the job, and I hope that he will be successful.
Burnham is considered to be a pro-European candidate. Is that how you feel the Labour Party will go should he win?
Well, the Labour Party is an internationalist party and has always, certainly in modern times, had a very supportive attitude because of the balance between having the social chapter and social rights and the market economy combined together. And I think that the fact is that at the time where we see workers' rights under pressure is that we need more support at a European level to work together to ensure that people have decent working conditions. And I think this week we're actually having a debate about zero-hours contracts instigated by Labour MEPs, which is something very important to people and constituents who are concerned about that issue.
Migration is going to be a key issue as well, as it is for all the parties. David Cameron, Prime Minister, seems to be taking, a dramatic stance towards immigration. How do you think Burnham will figure in this?
Well, I think the issue around migration has been around for many, many years. Obviously, the tone of the debate has slightly changed. I would say actually more than that, dramatically changed actually in less than a week because of the humanitarian issues that we face with refugees. But on the issue of migration, on the issue of the challenges that we face across the European Union, if we put the refugees issue to one side, I think that this is a debate that will be ongoing, and one which I think in member states we're all grappling with. How do we make sure that we have support structures, but also that it is a freedom of movement to work across the European Union. But on the refugee issue, I do think that we have this humanitarian crisis on our hands of an unprecedented level, and I think that we have to do a number of things. One is, I believe that we need to create a humanitarian corridor in order that people do not die on boats. As 6,000 people have died in less than 2 years across the Med. That's of what we know. It's probably a lot more than that. But we also need to seek diplomatic solutions, and we also need to make sure that we have a European response, a coordinated response, and that's something that I think that's very important that we look at. And I certainly think in terms of what Andy Burnham has been saying about the refugee crisis, this is something that we need to work together on.
Mr Corbyn has taken a very strident stance against austerity. Where does Mr Burnham stand?
I think that, we want to have decent public service. We all want to make sure that we have a health service for the future. I think Andy, more than anybody else, has supported a decent public health service and has been working towards that in his health brief in the past. But I think that we all want to make sure that we have public services for the future. We want to make sure we have a healthy economy and a growing economy. And I think Andy would put not just public services at the forefront, but also creating that healthy, growing economy that we need to make sure all of that is funded.
Do you believe that whoever wins the election, the leadership election, can depend upon the full support of the European Union in representing Labour?
I think whoever is democratically elected as the leader of the Labour Party will have the full support of the European Parliamentary Labour Party. It's a democratic process that we're undergoing at the moment. Actually, one of the most democratic processes I think somebody described that's ever existed in any political party, probably across the European Union. But we will see what the result comes on Saturday, and I do believe and I hope that Andy Burnham wins.